Welcome again to our investigation of guardianship matters in the case of Robert J. And the case number is CP 0136-2009, Essex County Chancery Division. These are all based on documents forwarded to the court for filing in this public matter. One of the letters addressed to the court reads, and we're doing all excerpts here, and we speak of Vanessa D. Taylor. Whenever we mention the name Vanessa D. Taylor, or either Vanessa, she is the court-appointed guardian of Robert J. Vanessa has been particularly determined to not comply with the court order, and I wonder if her attorney is solely in place to continue more of the same. Her attorney is Shawnda Floyd. I would ask that the court issue an order holding Vanessa's attorney to the same standard of care as Vanessa D. Taylor to comply with the order of court of February 3rd, 2010 that states that the guardian shall, quote, keep all family members, including Gary Juan Johnson and other persons of interest, advised of any matters or issues involving the best interests of Robert J. Johnson, including medical care in his residence and sale of property, unquote. And I wish to mention here that the order says keep the interested parties advised of any matters or issues. And I think if you look up the definition of the word any, A-N-Y, it means everything. And I think that's very important to know. It means everything, because apparently Vanessa D. Taylor, as well as Robert Johnson's court-appointed lawyer James Boutelier, do not seem to comprehend the definition of the word any. Again, we are reading excerpts from documents that were turned over to the court as part of the public filing in this guardianship matter. And that letter just now we were reading from, that was addressed to the Honorable Judge Walter Koprowski, who is hearing the case. In a letter dated September 8th, 2010, to Vanessa Taylor, James Boutelier, and the Honorable Judge Walter Koprowski concerning issues to be filed with the court. Here are some of the questions asked to Vanessa, which neither herself or her attorney has responded to at this time. Just a few questions that I ask that you clarify, verify, or amplify, since you are supposed to be the person appointed to be the most knowledgeable, and to this point you have refused to provide even a fifth of what Mr. Boutelier alleges. Mr. Boutelier, of course, is the attorney for Robert Johnson. He is a court-appointed attorney, and he has written about an 8-page document recently, in fact very late, as I guess as late as August or September, where he talks about the medical and the residence and the property of Robert Johnson. And this is certainly evidence that Vanessa D. Taylor was supposed to bring up these issues upon request, and certainly without request she should have brought them up. And up until this time, which is September, she has refused to do so as the guardian appointed by the court. Question on inventory of property. This is addressed to Vanessa D. Taylor as well as the court. Mr. Boutelier feels that your contempt of court and not filing the inventory report on time is a, quote, de minimis infraction, unquote, which means minor. Do you agree with him that it is a minor matter to disobey an order of the court? Next question. Vanessa, if you were not the guardian but next of kin in this matter, and the guardian did not obey the court's orders, what civil or criminal punishment would you want the guardian to face? Question to Vanessa. At what point did rents stop being paid at the rental property, or the property owned by Robert Johnson? This would be a significant change since the original report to the court mentioned rents. Neither you nor Mr. Boutelier has mentioned what happened to that money. And again, just an aside here, complaints have been lodged with at least one or two other government agencies asking them to investigate Vanessa D. Taylor, the Taylor Group, James Boutelier, Samuel Pica, for real estate fraud in this matter. There's a question directed at Vanessa regarding medical care. Have you ever ordered a second opinion, a second medical opinion of Dad's conditions? Have you sought to order a nutritional analysis of Dad? If so, what were the results? This is a question on his residence. Mr. Boutelier is pretty detailed, but at times vague in his 8 pages. He seems to have had a lot of talks with you. Did he ever mention, Vanessa, that you had not filed the inventory report? Did he just say, don't worry about it? Did he ever tell you to not answer my emails asking for information, significant changes as he says, and did he tell you to just ignore me? This is a question to Vanessa on his sale of property, and also a question to the judge. What is the reason for not responding to the offer of sale and other related questions regarding Dad's building in Newark, New Jersey? What is your response to the fact that I believe you have engaged in a fraudulent concealment of the conditions of Dad's property? What is your response to the fact I believe you and others have engaged in real estate fraud? And last, and this is a letter again taken from a letter to the Judge Walter Koprowski, to James Boutelier, and to Vanessa D. Taylor, dated September 8th. Mr. Boutelier's affidavit is pretty lengthy. What would be the reason why you don't bring 8 pages worth of, quote, significant changes, unquote, his words, to my attention as requested and per the court's order? And we're going to be reading from that court's order in a second, just to remind you what the court's order says. And we're going to read now. This is a letter from the judge that was written August 31st. This letter was written to Vanessa Taylor's attorney, Shawnda Floyd, to James Boutelier, who is the attorney for Robert Johnson, and also to Gary Johnson, who is a next of kin and party in interest here. And the judge wrote Vanessa, asking her to give commentary since she has put in a motion for sale of Robert J.'s property. And the judge says, movant, which is Vanessa D. Taylor, movant has asserted that the income generated from the sale of the property will be used to cover the ward's outstanding bills. Movant has failed to address the discrepancy between the appraisals and the sales price, the rights of other persons, and the best interests of the ward. Counsel is directed to submit her submission no later than September 10th so as to address these issues, as well as the opposition submitted by Mr. Johnson. That's Gary Johnson submitted. So the court has already said to Vanessa Johnson to Vanessa D. Taylor, that her papers are faulty where it comes to the motion of sale of the property. And the motion for sale was signed by Vanessa D. Taylor on approximately May 13th, I believe. And I think I know the attorney for for Robert Johnson spoke with Vanessa D. Taylor a number of times before May 13th. So there was some type of involvement by Mr. Boutelier and Mr. Pica and others. But the fact is that the court had not yet the fact is the court had not yet approved the sale of the property. And I'm going to read from that order right now. Excuse me. It says the guardian of the estate may not alienate, mortgage, transfer, or other encumber or dispose of real property without court approval. Again, the guardian of the estate will not alienate, mortgage, transfer, or other encumber or dispose of real property without court approval. So it's interesting that Vanessa D. Taylor has signed the contract for sale with a proposed buyer, and that contract would go into effect within 3 days of her signing in May, yet she has not at this point gotten the court approval to sell the property. So she has been charged with fraud in that regard and entering into a real estate transaction which is fraudulent and which would be void because she did not have the authority to enter into that agreement. We're now going to read from the supplemental declaration in opposition by next of kin to the order to show cause and complaint for amended judgment to sell property. This is the opposition to Vanessa D. Taylor's motion to sell the property, and this was forwarded to the court for filing. The order of the court February 3rd states that the guardian shall keep all family members, including Gary Juan Johnson and other persons of interest, advised of any matters or issues involving the best interests of Robert J. Johnson, including medical care and his residence and sale of property, unquote. Vanessa has failed to follow this court order. Vanessa has not kept Gary Juan Johnson advised on Dad's medical care, residence, and his property. The court order of February 3rd states the guardian may not alienate, mortgage, transfer, or other encumber or dispose of real property without court approval. Vanessa signed the contract of sale without authorization from the court. She represented by the signing of the contract that she had authorization. I have read the contract of sale. It does not state that the sale is conditioned upon review by interested parties and approval of the court. It does not state the conditions for the sale. There is no indication from this point on that Vanessa D. Taylor or attorney James Boutelier will not harm the rights of others under real estate laws or any other rights, and rights granted by the February 3rd amended order to be advised on every matter. Any is the word the court order uses, but any of course means everything. And it's not just that Vanessa D. Taylor has not kept interested parties advised on any matters. She hasn't kept them advised on every matter. There's numerous matters she hasn't responded to. It is claimed by Boutelier that the nursing home is owed about $68,000, but there is no detail of where the money has gone up to this point, other than Mr. Boutelier's claim that Medicaid approval has not come through yet. So this is just from some of the papers that have been filed in the court action, and of course there is sanctions being asked against Vanessa D. Taylor in this matter, and it's also been asked that the attorney for Robert J. Johnson not be paid his fees on the grounds that he has not reported Vanessa D. Taylor to the court for her failure to keep interested and next of kin advised per the court order. Thank you very much for listening to today's broadcast.